Who is the first person in all the Bible to declare that they had seen God? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and the answer is most likely Hagar, the woman enslaved to Sarai, the wife of Abraham. In Genesis 16, she runs away from her mistress into the wilderness, and the text, as it has come down to us, explains that she runs into the angel of the Lord, who instructs her to go back and to obey her mistress. And then toward the end of the chapter, the text says that Hagar named Adonai, who spoke to her, and she says, "You are El Roi," and then explains why she's giving God that name. And the Hebrew is a little muddled. Something has probably been corrupted along the way. But I think most critical scholars agree that this is expressing shock at having seen God and lived. And so that's, for instance, how the NRSV UE renders it. And so Hagar is actually the first person in all the Bible to claim to have seen God. Now, some people are going to say, nope, she saw the angel. She didn't see God. And that is a traditional approach to this text, but that's probably not what originally was going on in this story. See, this story and several others involving folks like Abraham and Moses and Joshua and Gideon and Manoach and his wife talk about them interacting directly with God, but somewhere along the way, there was some theological discomfort with God interacting directly with humanity. And so an editor came in and wrote the word malach, angel, before some of the occurrences of the name Adonai or the title God. They didn't do it every time, but just enough to muddy the waters and create this kind of conflated identity. Are they talking to an angel or are they talking to God? Well, there are a number of reasons to think that originally they were talking to God. For instance, in these stories, the messenger, the angel, is never doing what messengers or angels do. They're doing what God does. Additionally, the people usually express shock at having seen this entity and lived. And that's coming from Exodus 33:20, the idea that you can't see God's face and live. It would entirely undermine using the mediation of angels if it were deadly to interact with angels. And that's not something that's ever expressed anywhere. And there's also textual instability. The verses that have the angel versus those that don't differs between the Masoretic text and the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And then, for instance, in Exodus 3, where verse 2 says that the angel of Adonai appeared to Moses in a flame of fire in the midst of the bush, and then in verse 6, that angel says, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." When we look in the Vulgate, and in Josephus' telling of this story, the angel never shows up. It's the Lord from the very beginning. And so most likely we have interpolation going on here. And I've got a fuller argument for this in my book, Adonai's Divine Images, A Cognitive Approach, which is an open access book. You can find a PDF freely available online or through my link tree. So in light of this editorial change, in the original version of these stories, we have several people who interacted directly with God and saw God's face. But the first person in all the Bible to have claimed to see God's face seems to have been Hagar, the woman enslaved to Sarai. And the fit for this video has been the Mignola Hellboy.